and I'm here today with my guest, Jonathan Williams,
Hey man, how you doing?
aka
You good?
PHARAOH Draws. So he's a photographer, videographer.
Yeah.
How did you get into videography?
Man, okay. So I was thinking about this today. Like, it started at two different points because it originally started, it either started at secondary school when I did photography, and then I found out that there was a video sitting on my photo camera,
Okay.
and then I started recording like little 5 to 10 second clips, thinking I was like a big time film director, just putting it together in iMovie and stuff like that. I guess that's technically where it started, but the
Yeah.
videography I think properly started, I'd only say about like a year and a half ago,
Okay.
really, because I think I'm known more as a photographer
Yeah.
by trade, so I've been doing that for the past 5 to 6 years. But like the video stuff started off like fairly recently, I'd say, when I picked up my first cinema line camera, because before I was doing photography,
Right.
but the problem was I was using a camera that wasn't necessarily made to do video work. So now I had to spend time doing my research and saving up to get a proper cinema line camera. And then I think when I started to play around with like video editing and color grading,
Yeah.
and then I was putting out the content on like Instagram, and then brands got in touch and I was like, hey, can you make content for us? That's when it started like properly, I'd say. So
How did it feel getting that first call from like a major brand?
oh man, to do like photo work or video work, or
Photography or videography?
it was weird because I thought it was like a joke in a way, because I remember the first big brand or company that got in touch was Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah, and that was like December of 2023. There's this woman called Amy Parker Williams. She got in touch by email, and I could have swore I seen the email, but I didn't like reply until like 2 days later, because I was trying to figure out if it was a legit email. So I remember I looked at her like her email address on Gmail, and then I put it into LinkedIn, and I was like, oh my god, it's real. Like she actually works at Paramount.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, I came across your Instagram. I'm working on the new series of it was Comedy Central Live at the time. At the end of 2023, I need someone to do unit stills and someone to do cover art or key art photos. So I remember just being super nervous, and I replied, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Like, of course, you know what I mean? That's nothing, basically. And I think she took a chance on me, because I think before then I'd done a little bit for like Channel 4 and a few things for the BBC, but nothing to that scale where she was giving me complete creative control to take whatever kind of photos I wanted for the series.
I feel like that's the best thing though, is when like you build your portfolio.
Yeah,
Just doing it because you love it, even
exactly.
if you're not paid to do it to begin with. But
Yeah.
once you have just a few reputable brands that you've done it for and it's quality work,
Yeah,
they can see, okay, they can visually see your different qualities that have led to that point.
exactly. I think they have more confidence with you, and they have more confidence to know that you're going to make something that kind of is to a high standard, or something that they would feel personally proud about reposting. And I think when I worked with her on that series, it was like started off as an online series, and now it's actually on TV, which is really great. I remember I met her on the first day. It was 3 days of filming, and I was almost expecting her to go back on her word and give me this, brief and say, you got to do this, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. But she held her word, and she was like, nah, I'm going to give you complete creative control. So she was just like, we need, maybe try photographing it this way, maybe do it that way, but do whatever you feel is going to look good. And it was, I remember when the photos came out, they did the filming, photos came out, and it was, the first time. It was the first time I'd gotten a big paycheck.
Okay.
Because I remember the money that I got from that, I was able to buy a car
Yeah.
outright. And I was like, before then, I was not driving. I was taking trains. I was doing buses, coaches. So I remember when I got that, I was like, wow. Like, it's like almost I think it's like a light bulb moment where I was like, okay, I was already making a career out of this, but maybe I can work for the bigger companies and it can work for me.
It's spiritual, isn't it? Because it's like,
Yeah.
you're buying something from something you've received, from something you've put into yourself.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. That's a great way to look at it. I remember being so proud, because I was like, I remember like just thinking at the time, like, this is mad. Like I remember I sent her the quote for the job, and then here's me thinking like, oh, she's gonna say no, and like this is never gonna work. And she just got back to me like 5 minutes later and was like, yeah, that's cool. What we'll do, we'll set you up on the system, and then like tell me your tax reference number and all this stuff. And we didn't even have like a Zoom call or anything like that. Like we literally, I think I met her on the day of filming, and she was like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And it's funny, like so that was a 3-day shoot, and on the second day, I remember she sat me down and she was like, hey, I want you to work on something else too. I was like, really? That's crazy. And then she's like, yeah, I want you to do headshot photos for my team at the Paramount offices. And she was like, just let me know a price again. And I let her know a price. She's like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, wow, like I don't have to work for like 2 or 3 months. You know what I mean? I was like, I felt like I made it. And then I remember being so I remember wanting to put those photos out so bad because I felt like it was the thing that would validate me as a photographer, being able to work with this huge media company, and I've gone to university to study media. So to work with a company like that as a freelancer, it was like a milestone moment. Yeah.
What advice do you have for creatives who want to do freelancing? Like how is it best to get into it?
Well, first you gotta make something. You gotta pick what field you wanna operate in. So figure out, I wouldn't even necessarily say what you're the best at. Maybe figure out what you're the most passionate about, because a lot of the time the passion will take you further. Because I feel like with me, I just used to love taking photos. I was obsessed with it. So I might have actually been a better videographer if I would have done videography in the beginning, but I was like photos on my bag. So I started doing that because I was passionate about it. And then I just was everywhere. Like when I'm 27 now, so I guess I entered the industry unknowingly as a 17-year-old. So when I was going to like London and Manchester and staying in Birmingham, going to creative events, I was the youngest in the room at the time. So everyone like who was in these rooms that I was dying to meet, they were all in their like mid-20s, their 30s now. A lot of them, like my like big homies and stuff like that, they've got kids and they're like married and stuff like that. So when I was 17, they were like 23, 24, 25, and I remember thinking, man, that's like they're up there like in age. I remember being like definitely feeling like the kid at the time when I was in the industry, but I was just hungry, and I was like, I'm gonna go into every room, I'm gonna meet everyone, I'm gonna shake hands, I'm gonna be as professional as I can be, and I'm just gonna put out good energy, because I feel like if people see that I'm serious and I've got something to offer, then maybe they'll take me to this event so I can meet, another person who's well connected, and just kind of doing it like that essentially. So it was a lot of networking, still is a lot of networking. But I think when you meet enough people, and once you get into rooms with influential people, your name kind of just exists in there. So if you do a good job enough times, your name doesn't tend to go too far from people's like memory. They'll just know you as like, oh yeah, John did a great job. Like maybe in 6 months time I'll call him for something else, or in a year's time, or maybe even like next week when I've got some more budget to do other things. So yeah.
I couldn't help but smile when you said that, because like, I really resonate with myself. It's like
Yeah.
you're going into these different rooms and there's so many different like energies and people, and it's like it can be a little daunting at first, but I feel like it's all about your intention as well. It's like, why am I here? You know what I mean? And I feel like that sort of translates. People can tell you're serious.
Yeah, and people can feel energy. I feel like when you walk into a room, if you're nervous and you're like that, or if you're just really shy and you stand in the corner, I don't think you're gonna get necessarily what you want out of people. I feel like you have to be, not necessarily saying you have to be out there and you have to be like the most extroverted person ever, but you have to like let people know what you want, and don't expect people to be able to read minds and think just because you're in the room that you deserve to be spoken to in a way. Like I don't think anyone's necessarily supposed to come up to you and make those connections. You're supposed to do it. So like this is a good example. So the other day I was at an event at Box Park, Wembley, and I saw a photographer that I really look up to. She's amazing. I remember she walked past me and I was like, oh, I swear I know her from somewhere. And she walked past me again, like 20 minutes later, I was like, yeah, that's definitely her.
Yeah.
So then in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to go up to her at the end of the event. At the end of the event, I'm going to say, what's up? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And try and make a connection, because I knew that she doesn't know me, but I know her and I really like her stuff. And then I remember I messaged her afterwards and she was like, say, oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I love you. You know, I love your vibe. Send me your portfolio. And maybe nothing will come from that, or maybe something will come from that. But for me, it's like just putting stuff out there. And that's the most important thing. Putting stuff out there so people can see. Because when she went on my Instagram, she was able to see, oh, he's done all this work. He's done with Instagram and Channel 4 and da. So I think it's about you wanting those opportunities and putting yourself out there and knowing that it's not gonna, sometimes things do come to you, like the universe will give you things, but I think a lot of the time it requires you to at least try and put one foot forward and say, this is what I want, and then you tend
like
to
intuition.
yeah, exactly like just like putting yourself out there, like positive affirmations, positive actions to get to where you want to get to eventually. So
No, 100%.
yeah.
I think it's more, I think for me what I learned was just like alignment.
Yeah.
I feel like before I started doing what I was doing, I already knew like what I wanted in the people around me.
Yeah.
So I feel like once you make that distinction, and as well, even if a person's at a different level than you, it's like you see them as your peers.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing the same thing and you've got the same like mission, the same hunger, all that kind of stuff, then they should be like your biggest allies, really.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
like, collaboration was the thing that like I really learnt the value of, because it's like you're both giving each other something that just boosts both of you.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing that I learned when I got into it.
You can't do it all by yourself. That's something I'm realizing more and more. Like I've got friends who will like write emails for me, or they'll send me grant applications, or I'll say, oh, I want to do this kind of project, and then they'll connect me with the right people to make those things happen. So I think if you try and go into everything doing it yourself, you're only going to get so far. I think at a certain point you have to know how to share some of the responsibility and just put yourself out there and say, like, I need help. I don't know, I need help making a short film. Who can help me out? If you can pay people, great. If not, and they're willing to do it because they support your creative vision, then that's amazing. I think when you try and like do everything as a solo, shooter, sometimes it can go well, but sometimes you need even like one or two people to just give you some input and advice and just help you out along the way. Yeah.
I think it helps you to see outside yourself as well. Like I consider myself a very like hyper conscious person, how I view myself, but it's also a thing of like you're never too conscious. So like I do like to, if I trust someone to like look into me as a person, then I will ask them like just like a question. I think it's good to it's healthy to have sort of like a third person oversight of like who you are as a person. Yeah,
like talk to yourself like you're your own best friend. I mean, that's what I got from that, is just imagine, like, just exist in the third person as much as you can. So say if you wasn't you, what advice would you give to you if you saw, because I think it's easier for us to give other people advice compared to us trying to receive our own advice, because a lot of the time I think it's hard for us to do the things that we need for ourselves, because we will say, oh, well, I'm not like this person. The reason why this person's got whatever they've got or they've accomplished is because they've done this and this and that. But if you view yourself in the third person and think, okay, if I wasn't me, what would I do? You tend to like speed up. I think like the whole process of you achieving what you want to achieve speeds up massively. So I think that's important. Yeah.
What's your sort of like overall mission? What do you feel like your overall mission is as a creative?
My overall mission, this is something I think about like a few times a week, to be honest with you, because I'll do a shoot for a company and then I'll get paid, and then I'm like, oh, that was cool, because I can pay my bills and I can pay my rent and I can save money and do what I do. But then I tend to come back to the idea that it's not just about the money, it's more so about the legacy that I'm building and making things that are going to connect with people on a level. So I think now I'm at a stage in my career where, because I've done so much commercial work and I've proven to people, because I think that was my biggest fear after I left university. I was like, now I had to prove to everyone that I can make money off this. And I feel like when you hit certain financial goals within your life, you're able to take a step back and then say, okay, like I made 10K from a shoot. I made 5K from a shoot. I've made more than the average salary in the UK from just doing my creative job. So what's next? And I think for me, it's about creating like more content that people can connect with on a personal level. So making stuff that's gonna like provoke thought or provoke emotion, or that can have some kind of change. Because sometimes it's not just about making something that's going to help a product or a service sell or like an event sell. Sometimes it's about like what you really trying to say with your creative voice. And I think for a long time I was really focused on, as you should be, focused on making money, because you know you need money to survive. But I think along the way people kind of sat me down and I was like, listen, it's great, you know, you're doing what you want to do, but maybe think about working on a personal project. And I'd always ignore that advice until actually fairly recently when we went out to Paris and we filmed Fête de la Musique for like 2 days. That was a personal project, like paid for everything myself, got a rental car, got an Airbnb, and just decided to make something. And it was only like a 1 minute clip, but that 1 minute edited video resonated with people more than a lot of the commercial work I was doing. Because when I do commercial work, it's mainly just for that client and they know what they want to do with it. And I think it's harder for people to like really connect to something if they know they're being sold something at the end of the day. So
yeah, I feel like content is probably the most important thing in terms of you're giving your authentic energy to someone.
Yeah.
So it's like they really feel that. And I think what advice would you give to creatives around creating content that captures their authenticity and what they want to give out without straying too far from trying to, like, do you know what I mean? Like give the impression they're trying to sell the viewer something. I think it's like it's a true test to yourself, because like for me, I naturally just want to give authentically to give to the person. But then there's also the element of as well is like I'm also doing this with the intention of I want to scale what I'm doing, or I want to offer this thing that I do, or I want to offer this thing. And I think that's a thing that a lot of creatives struggle with, is how do you sort of bridge the gap between those two things?
I think what's helping me is making the stuff that I want to see, because I'm very particular about what I watch on a day-to-day basis, because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I'm big into YouTube. So like I take YouTube like very serious. Like that's my TV. So people say, have you seen Love Island, or have you seen
The same, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just like I'm a YouTube like rat. Like
television is program. It's just straight programming. It's like
I think and YouTube's becoming the new TV anyway, or pretty much is for like my generation and your generation and the generation under us. Because even when you have traditional television, you'll go on YouTube and you'll see the clips from a certain show on YouTube later on, like after it's aired on TV. So I tend to make the stuff that I want to see, and I do it in a way which I didn't even realize I was doing until someone told me, like having it be a mix of personal content, so me making something from my point of view, whether it's like literally me shooting POV with a camera, but then mixing it with cinematic shots. So that's something that I didn't realize until like 2 weeks ago, because I was on LinkedIn and I was just looking through the comments, and then someone made this really interesting comment and I was like, oh, I like how you've mixed cinematography with personal vlogging. And I was like, oh damn, I have done that. Yeah, because I didn't realize. So I got these beautiful shots of this artist performing on stage, and it looked like it could be used for like a promotional video. But then I got a shot of me just holding my camera on the tube, like on the way to the festival ground, and I was like, oh yeah, I think that's what people want to see. They don't want to see something that's necessarily picture perfect, but they don't want to see something that's too personal. to
So
them.
it's more like your process.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've tried to do. Like, well, not tried. It's what I've done. I've just like, I don't focus on trying to show people necessarily something that I've done. I just document my process, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's the best thing about life is document all of your moments as you're doing it, because it's like, you know what I mean, you can look back on it any time, and also you're giving you're also giving hope to a lot of people,
Yeah.
because a lot of people feel very alone on their journey, in that whether they feel let down by certain things in society, whether they struggle with confidence, whether they struggle with this, how to connect with people and all this kind of stuff. So I think just showing people your process is something rare in of itself.
Yeah, I think so. I think people are like, my mentor said this to me 2 days ago. He was like, people are obsessed with lifestyle and seeing the behind the scenes. So a lot of people don't necessarily care about seeing the finished product, because we're so used to seeing these picture perfect finished pieces of content
Okay.
on social media and the world around us, that you'll find that like a behind the scenes video of a shoot might end up doing better than the actual shoot, because people want to see how you've done something. At the end of the day, like, people aren't that focused on, they're still focused on the finished product, but they're more so like, that was cool, I want to see what was done to make it that way. I want to be on set and then see like everything outside. It's almost like when you it's like when you look at a photo and then it's like you look at a photo and then you want to take a step back and see more things, or more of the photo that you maybe not seeing, essentially. So it's like, sure, I want to see this finished product, but I want to see like, what was the director doing, what was the stylist doing, what was the makeup artist doing, because they want to be involved in absolutely everything. And I think like when you're making content, it's about showing everything from step 1 all the way to step 100. And you can't ever just forget about the small things that people want to see. And it may seem small to you, like when I recorded the Paris video, I remember I was in the car and I was driving through the Channel Tunnel, and I was like, people might actually want to see this, because they may have never been in the Channel Tunnel. I hadn't. That was my first time being in it. So I didn't realize how it works. I didn't realize that it's only 30 minutes. So you're in this huge kind of container thing, going across the ocean, across the English Channel, and you get out and you're in Calais. And I was like, that could be a video in itself. So let me show that process. Let me show the process of me driving through the French countryside to get to where I need to get to, because people want to literally be taken from point A to point B and see everything. So, yeah.
100%. Gma, can we cut it, please? And then we'll continue in like 2 minutes.
That's fine. Yeah. All good.
Okay. Just give me 5 seconds to formulate my question.
Yeah, of course.
So, who specifically inspired you to get into your career, or was it yourself?
That's a great question. I think the obvious answer is my mum and my sister, because when I left university, they were like, kind of what every sibling and mum is like. They're like, okay, what are you gonna do with your life? You've got your degree, you've worked super hard. It's been 3 years. The world's your oyster. You can do anything you want now. And I think I was dead set on making sure I was gonna do something that I would enjoy, but also doing something that could, of course, bring in some money. So when I left, before I left uni, actually, I found a client that I was able to get on a retainer, or like an unofficial kind of retainer type basis, where they'll give me, I think it's like $1,000 or $1,500 a month to take photos and do videos. But by then I thought I was like set. I was like, oh my God, like I've hit the jackpot. That means all I have to do is, find one more client who'll give me like £500 and I can make $2,000 a month, which at the time I was like, so happy with, because I thought that's a living, you know what I mean? That's a salary, and I think it was roughly what all my friends were on at the time. So I was like, okay, all I need to do is do that. So when I found that client, I was happy, because it meant I could like live my dreams and do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe if I didn't have my mum and my sister there, to kind of encourage me and push me and tell me what I was doing, because I didn't even know what the word retainer meant. So I remember just thinking, well, if I shoot with them once and then I do it again and again and again, like maybe that's like a working relationship. And then my sister was like, yeah, that's called a retainer. Just me not knowing anything about business. And then she was like, yeah, you can do that, and then you can get that to work, and that'd be a cool thing to consider. So I remember I did that, and then kind of met more clients, started going out there more, making content. And then
I just wanted to interject really. When you said about like the terminology and stuff,
yeah,
I feel that's a very big thing.
yeah. That's a huge thing.
Yeah,
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
What advice would you have for creatives around navigating the business side of the creative industry?
Oh, okay, that's great. I think I would highly suggest that every creative take one kind of business course, just so they know what they're doing. Because I saw this quote by PHARAOH the other day, and he was referring to the music business, and he said those two things work hand in hand. It's the music business, so you can't have one without the other. And it's the same thing with the creative business. Like if you're good at the business side, but you're not good at creative side, no one's gonna really like buy into what you're doing necessarily, because you don't have the creative vision to make something look cool. But if you're good at the creative side and you're bad at the business side, then people are gonna take advantage of your creative abilities, because you're not gonna know your worth, and you're not gonna know what you're entitled to and how the whole business side works. So I think whether it doesn't even have to be going to like college or secondary school, it can be doing like a class on YouTube or Skillshare or any of these kind of like free online learning platforms where you can learn the basics of business and get a little bit of, lessons in marketing, digital marketing that would help, PR, branding. I think that's really important. So I think just taking the time to educate yourself is, that's like massive for me.
Yeah, because I think with the business side, it's difficult when you're a creative, as if like you wanna maintain your creative purpose, but you don't want the business side of it to like sway what you're doing. Or it's tough. I think it's very much down to the individual.
Yeah.
I think it's the importance of having your own process, as you say. Like you can't. It's not something you can necessarily learn. Like it has to be. You have to find what works for you.
Yeah.
I found what works for me in terms of like how I want to create content, how I want to like schedule it, like, and it's all been learned from me just doing it over and over again, because it programs your subconscious to learn from every single time that you've done it.
Yeah, I think it's important, because like ultimately you're just training your mind to do something every day. Like it's like a muscle, right? So you build it up, you train it, where you can eventually get to a stage where you do things you don't even realize you're doing them. I think that's really important. Like like for me, for example, with business, anytime someone sends me an email, I already have a format in my head about how I want to reply. I know I need to ask about, okay, someone sends me an email about doing some kind of creative work. I need to ask for payment terms. So is it net 30? Is it net 14? I need to ask about deposits. I need to ask about deliverables. I need to ask about deadlines, amendments, all of that stuff. Because if you just jump into the creative industry thinking I'm just going to create and I don't know the business side, that's like you're going to get taken advantage of, right? Because you're going to make this piece of content and you're going to be really happy about it. You're going to make it for a client, for example, if it's a commercial piece of work.
Right.
But then because you didn't ask the right questions about payment, maybe they say like, oh, it's going to take 60 days to pay you. And then you're like, well, I can't get paid in 60 days because my rent's coming out in 30 days. Or maybe they say, something about editing, like you send them a version of, the content that you've made.
Yeah.
And then they're constantly giving you a bunch of amendments. But because you didn't know about offering a client 2 rounds of amendments, you're just going to be editing the same piece of content again and again and again. So the reason why a lot of creatives get stuck in a box or you never know about them is because they are so good at the creative side, but they don't know anything around business. So they stay there. And it's the reason why there's a lot of, not anyone that I know personally, but there can be like a lot of average creators who they're not doing anything that groundbreaking. They're not reinventing the wheel, but because they're just so business minded,
I think
they get it.
I think that's what actually, not understanding the business, I feel like that's what actually forces people to slow down.
Yes.
And
Yes,
it
yes.
forces people into coming, because it's like, because it's so intimidating.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get your head like wrapped around it. I think, yeah, it pushes you into like different avenues, or even just stopping altogether.
Yeah, I think so. I think it should do that. I love that point that you made. It should do that, because if the business isn't going right, that's when you take a step back and then you say, what am I doing? Something isn't adding up. I need to go back to the drawing board, because if the product isn't bad, and you know the product isn't bad because people are getting in touch with you, then it probably means the business is bad. And if the business is bad, it's not the end of the world, because you can fix the business. Because it's easier to, in my opinion, I think it's easier to be a good businessman compared to being a good creative. Because I feel like it's taken me 6 years to get to being a really good creative, where I feel comfortable giving something to a client and not expecting them to have feedback. Like in the beginning, I'd send stuff out and I'm like dreading it, because they're going to send me an email with like a list of amendments and stuff like that. But now like, you know, and you get one, you get that. But now I'll send, like I sent a video to I did a little video for Box Park Wembley the other day.
Yeah.
Just a really, really quick job. I was there for like 3 hours, 4 hours. But I remember when I gave them the finished video, I think the marketing manager had like 2 amendments about the video and no amendments about the photos at all. And that hasn't just happened right then and there. That's taken 5 years being told this isn't good enough, that isn't good enough. That's taken years of upgrading camera equipment, changing editing softwares, shooting for free, all of that stuff to get to the point where I can give someone content, essentially, because that's how I look at it nowadays. I just make content and they can use that for whatever they want to do.
I think learning to be adaptable is what, like, and just being persistent. I feel like that's what keeps your soul alive, though, because it keeps your purpose alive.
Yeah.
I always try and be as blunt with myself as possible.
Yeah.
I think if you're very blunt with yourself and you're very direct, even when you're speaking to others, it's like you're only saying like the blunt of what you mean.
I think so too. I think so. I think that's a great point, because I feel like you have to be, especially in this world now where there's so much noise and confusion and a lot of people beating around the bush. If you just genuinely say what you mean and you cut out all the filler, all the rubbish, it will cut its way through and it will hit harder, and then there's no room for confusion. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when there's room for confusion, that's what leads to frustration, and then that's what leads to people falling out and feeling like they're not being heard because the communication isn't on point and everyone's wondering like, oh, okay, I wonder why they didn't like this, or I wonder why we had some confusion about payment or deliverables and stuff like that. Is because the communication wasn't there. So because there's no communication, things can't run smoothly. So I totally agree.
That's it falls back onto you, because it's like, well, if the communication's not good, then it's something about your own communication. So then like it's on the individual to like instantly change that. Or, do you know what I mean? Like it forces you to be in a position where it's like every single thing that I'm delivering right now is a result of who I am. So it's like an ego killer, man. It's like gives you like an ego death.
Well, it's important though, right? Like I thought about that the other day, like the word ego death. I was in my kitchen and I was like, you need to get to that point in your life, not only as a creative, but just as a person, where you can take a step back and then just take all emotion and all ego out of it and say, like, be really upfront with yourself and bold and say, this is what it is. You know what I mean? There's no beating around the bush. There's no trying to protect yourself so you don't feel hurt when you present something to someone. It's about saying, I am myself and I'm me, and I'm just going to present what I have to the world. And if people like it, great. If they don't like it, I'll listen to feedback and I'll work on potentially making it better. But I'm not gonna, I mean, I'm not gonna let especially as men too, I'm not gonna let my own ego hold me back in a way, because it's ultimately, as much as there are gatekeepers within the industry, as we all know, a lot of it just comes down to who you are as a person. And I think when you take full responsibility and have something similar to an ego death, you'll find that you'll tend to grow and like prosper a lot faster, I think.
Yeah, because like myself, I've been around people who are very like successful in like the corporate world and that side of it, and like I'd watch like the CEO and like they'd make so many mistakes in one day, like they'd mess calls up, but it doesn't. The thing that I observed about it was that they're willing to change course at any given moment.
Yeah.
And they're always moving.
Yeah.
So like he'll be on a call, he'll put it down, and then he's on the next call, then he's on the next call, and then the next one. It's like when you get in that flow of like you're doing like 50 things in a day, that's 50 different outcomes.
Yeah.
So if you're doing like 50 different things with that many outcomes, like if you make 20 mistakes, then you've got 30 wins.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I feel like it's like upgrading your scope as to everything, as opposed to like how big your scope is determines like how many good results you can get.
Yeah, 100%. I that's a great point. I thought about that the other day because I unfortunately I made a mistake on a job for a client, but it was the first mistake I've made. I want to say it's the first mistake I've made in about 2 years.
Okay.
Like a big mistake. And I remember thinking like, but these come so far and few between. I'm actually doing more right than I'm doing good. So I shouldn't. The reason why I feel so emotional about this mistake that I've made is because I managed a lot of things that but by the grace of God, they go well. But when something doesn't go well,
to like remind you of how you felt
back then. Yeah.
I've had that before where like I'll have made like a mistake when like I'm up there or something like that, and then I'll think, oh man, and then I remember like a year ago when I made that same one. Because like a year ago you would feel like you'd be in a different position. So like it can be a little bit of a trap of like, wait, am I in that position again?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what it made me that's what it made me feel like, because I remember I made the mistake and I knew what the mistake was. The mistake was just not having enough space on a hard drive. And I was like, when I look back here, I was like, yeah, something went missing because I didn't have the space on the hard drive. What I should have done was just bought another hard drive for like like 100 quid on eBay or like Amazon. But because I was in this mindset of like, no, like I'll figure it out, I'll delete files, all of this stuff. I held myself back in a way because I ended up making that little, that mistake. But always think in the moment, I remember I thought to myself, like, are you going to care about it in a day? Are you going to care about it in a week? Are you going to care about it in a month? Probably not. No. And then I gave myself a time period. I said, okay, come back to this in 30 days, see if you care. And then 30 days went and I was on to the next 4 or 5 projects. And I was like, oh yeah, didn't even remember that. And I just, you apologize, you do whatever you need to do, and then you move on.
100%. 100%.
That's important.
One. This is another big question, but I'm just gonna ask it. How would you, or how do you think you will change the industry? Do you have plans to like make like changes to the industry in terms of how it like operates, or do you feel like that's too much of like? Because this is something I think about myself all the time. Is like, I'm doing what I'm doing. It's impacting individuals. It's impacting in the area and that kind of thing. But realistically, that's in one location. Like, I want to make change in like 5 locations, and then in another country, and then another country. Because it can be done. Like when you know yourself deeply, like you know that it can be done. Is there something you feel like you could do to change the industry, or what do you feel?
That's a deep question. That's a great question. No, I love it though.
I'm pouring my mind out to you there.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love that. I think I can continue to be myself and continue to do what I think is right for me, and hope that along the way it just inspires people to do what they want to do. So I feel like me existing and working with the companies that I work with, being the kind of person that I am too, like I feel like I'm very approachable. Like anyone can just ask me anything about whatever it may be, because I'm from Birmingham, and I think being from Birmingham keeps me humble, because I don't have an ego. Like I can, like, even, you know, when we did the intro and I was able to list off all those companies that I worked for, sorry, I'll still show up to photograph a christening. If my friend asked me to do that, you know what I mean? I still show up to someone's birthday if they need birthday photos. Like I'm not above doing anything like that. And I feel like I wanna, if I'm gonna make a change, it's just gonna be showing the next generation of creatives that you can exist in Birmingham.
Right.
You can live here, you can work here, but then you can go regional. Like you can work in London too if you want to. It just requires you being down there, making those connections, meeting those people to help you get to where you need to get to. I think that's something that I want to do. Like letting them know that it's not just about existing here. It's about existing all over the world. Because when I was able to make content in like Paris, for example, when I was able to make content in Italy, like when I'm going to New York next month to film content out there, I'm going to have my camera in a whole different country. It's in a whole different time zone. And I'm not from London. You know what I mean? I'm not in, you know, the cool London creative scene or anything like that. Like I exist here in Birmingham, but I exist in London. I can exist in Manchester. I can exist in America. I can exist anywhere. And I'm from Aston. Like I'm not anyone special. So I think that's something that I'd like to let, you know, young people know. I think that's the change I would want to make, is just letting people know you can be yourself and you can make it, and you can you can make it, and you don't have to be like everybody else. Because I think what a lot of people are doing is corny anyway. So it's like, but what a lot of people are doing is corny anyway. So you can do whatever you want. You can. Like for me, I'll do a lot of commercial work, but then I still have like passion projects. Like I got a men's mental health running group. You know, I think a certain amount of people like that, but I think a certain amount of people would come to my page just to see the hype content. They want to see me at Wireless Festival, you know, taking photos of Drake. They want to see me in New York, you know, taking photos of fashion brands and collaborating with all these. They want to see all that stuff, but I'm aware that I can't just exist as that kind of person, because if I'm just making that stuff,
it's like it's not you're not doing it just to serve yourself, but it just naturally is something that serves yourself. So it's like when you do something that serves the community, then that's something like it feeds. I don't know, I feel like they both feed the soul, but they both have different dynamics.
100%. Like when I got to work with Birmingham City Council earlier this year on a photo and video project, I was like, I'm so happy about that, because that is my city and it's for a great cause, and I'm going to be documenting my neighborhood. And that's going to hopefully go down in history forever. You know what I mean? I was more gassed about that than working with any big company or trying to look cool on Instagram. Like it's just about like, what do I want to do basically? And as long as you're making your money and you're staying out of trouble and you're getting up every day doing what you want to do, you're fine. You're all good.
I feel like social media has a positive and a negative impact on the creative industry. Because it's like, it makes people give more power to other people's perceptions of them than is needed. But then it can also play into people's darkness. But then it can also play into people's like lightness. So like they only show the light parts of who they are. And then it makes people think, oh, should I show people? Like there's so many different, like it's very overstimulating to the brain. And I feel like for creatives just in general, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is like, how public do I want my life? How private do I want my life
to be?
How have you yourself navigated through those different obstacles? Well, not obstacles, but like, it's just something that's present. How have you navigated through that?
That's a great question. As I'm getting older, I feel more comfortable showing my life.
Okay.
Definitely. Because, well, partly because I'm getting older and I'm getting more comfortable with myself, but partly because my life is just getting old. It's getting better as I get older. Because I think I had quite a tumultuous upbringing. That a lot happened like early on in my teenage years and my early 20s. So now showing my personal life, I'm fine with, because I feel like I'm in a good position and my family and friends are in a good position. So I feel like fine showing that side. Or even if I do run into issues with like in my personal life, I still feel comfortable showing that. Like I've got no problem being on Instagram and being like, oh, I've had a bit of a rubbish day. Like I've had, I don't know, maybe I was running late for a shoot, or I'm having issues with my car, or whatever it may be. I don't mind doing that, because I think it keeps me human, and I think it shows people that I am just like everybody else. Like my life isn't this picture perfect, story all the time. Like I have ups and I have downs, and that's totally fine, because no one's perfect. And show me someone with a perfect life. You know what I mean? It's not real. So yeah, I feel like now I'm more comfortable showing who I am. And just knowing it's social media, it's not even real. Like they're legit people who make up entire false narrative.
Persona.
Yeah, persona. Like they make false narratives about themselves, and for me, it's like I have to be who I am every single day. I have to show up as my authentic self every single day.
Okay.
Because if I don't, and I try and go down this route of like trying to create a persona for myself, I'll probably just get caught out anyway. So like, if I'm out here driving in cars that aren't mine, saying I live in certain areas I don't live in, people are just gonna be like, bro, so you like, if I try whip a flipping like a Maybach or something, or like a Benz, going, bro, so I saw you in your Ford Fiesta, and I don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't wanna do that. I just wanna be just real. I think that's the whole point of me working for myself, was so I could be as real and be as free as possible. Because I remember when I had a job at university, I felt like I wasn't showing up as myself every day, and that was more, can I swear?
It's up to you. I can just bleep it. It's up to
I felt like I felt like that was the worst shit ever, because I'd wake up and I'd have to be someone that I wasn't, and I feel like the whole point of me trying to doing this creative lifestyle and working for myself and being a businessman is so I can just show up as myself every single day and not have to worry about any of it.
So you think I'm guessing, because this is what I've noticed, like your environment whilst you're creating plays a big part in it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Like the environments that I'm in dictate the kind of art that I'm going to create.
How important do you think that is for creatives to curate their own environment, or take a risk and move themselves out of their environment?
I think it depends on the person. I think there are certain people who are more like risk evasive, or like risk prone to other people. I feel like some people feel like they can move halfway across the country and no, they can move to London with like £100, or they can move to LA with barely anything, and they feel like they're going to figure it out. I feel like there's some people who are a bit more tactical. So they're like, I'll live this creative lifestyle, but I'm going to make sure that I'm able to sustain myself and pay my bills and do what I need to do. I think when you're younger, it's easier to take those risks and be a daredevil and just say, oh, I'm just going to do whatever. I'm just going to show up to this random place. I'm just going to sleep on this couch. I'm just going to get on this train with no money, or whatever it may be. But I think as I'm noticing as I get older, I've always been a very responsible person, but you start to get to your mid-20s and stuff like that, and you look at all the risky stuff you did in your early 20s and your teens, and it's like, I'm not saying I want to do it again, but I'm like, oh, I'm getting older now. You know what I mean? Like I have to, I'm thinking more about the kind of like image of myself I'm putting out there a little bit, like what kind of work I'm creating, the energy I'm putting out there. That's massive too. Like I think I posted a photo of my godson yesterday on my Instagram. But yeah, and he's like, bro, he's the cutest like thing ever. Like I love him to bits. But I feel like 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done that because I felt I would have been overthinking it. I would have thought, oh, people don't want to see this, they don't want to see that. But it's like, people are going to buy into me whether I realize it or not. And I think when you realize that you are a brand and people care about you alongside your work, it makes you feel more comfortable.
I think as a creative, I think the coolest thing, like an opportunity you have, is to like overcome fear. Like if you have any type of fears as a human,
Yeah.
and then you become a creative,
Yeah.
and you go through it and you have your own thing, that's sort of like, you can do it in a very unique way. Like
Yeah.
it really allows you to like shape who you are in a way that maybe otherwise wouldn't be possible in like different avenues.
Yeah, 100%. Because you feel the most free. I think that's what it is. Like you feel like you have this sense of freedom that doesn't come from anywhere else. Like doesn't come from working, a job that you don't like, because you don't necessarily feel free. And I think everyone's on this. I think like when you see more people wanting to become content creators or creatives, it's not even necessarily about creating, it's more so about the freedom. I think that's what people want nowadays. People want to run, marketing agencies. They want to be photographers, they want to be videographers, because they see it as like a step towards financial freedom and spiritual freedom. So, that's kind of why they do it.
Okay.
In my opinion, because I feel like something will happen. Like they'll have like a shit day at work, and they're like, oh man, I don't want to work here no more. I want to work for myself.
Yeah.
And it's like they may not even care about just being a creative. They're just more so like, I just don't want anyone to treat me like I'm nothing, essentially. So then that's why they do it a lot of the time, which is what I found.
So yeah, this has been episode of Energy in Motion Season 2. It's been my guest, Jonathan Williams.
Thanks so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. And yeah, thank you for watching. Stay tuned.